website, anchor.fm. That's ANCHOR.FM. Podcast made easy. Okay, now that I've done this a couple times, I do have the hang of it a little bit. So, the process that I'm doing is more so me trying to do a podcast. I don't want to try to do a podcast. I just want to record my frame of thought, like how I think through the pictures. And what I've been doing thus far isn't nothing like that. That's not how it works. It's me trying to do a podcast. I don't have time to do a podcast. That means to plan everything and do all that. No, I'm just gonna talk to myself, act like I'm not talking to anyone, which pretty much I'm not, and just play it to myself and take over where I left off from. That's the process. It probably takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Um, Hopefully it'll get done faster, and then that way I can work my episodes out. Each episode that I work, that I talk out on this, I play it, and then I draw each scene. In this case, now, yeah, so I draw each scene. So, so far from doing these scenes, this podcast, and doing a little research and writing and doing the whole thing, I've come up with a pretty solid idea of where what I want to do. Things are making a lot of sense to me now. So as far as the comic book is concerned, I have done the first couple of pages. I've done them a couple of times, but now I think that I'm more ready now because I've done this podcast and I've been able to kind of hear my thoughts and hear the debates and overcome the problems and what I don't like in what I'm saying. And obviously, when I do write the words down, I'm trying to make it as few as possible, and I want the pictures to explain everything. All right, so that's kind of like my objective, and that is a really big B or whatever, and it's coming over here. Jeez, that thing is so big. Damn, if I get bit by that, it's a wrap. It's not even a bee. It's like some black fighter jet been struck by Home Alone machine, and now they're looking for the corporate. Anyways,
going on for
all right. So where I'm at right
this
now
day. Um,
in the story
how do you strength the key?
is a Richie Rich kid. He's a millionaire kid. He's a junior, and uh, his dad is a philanthropist um, slash the character is the world's richest kid. He's a kid genius, and at a very young age, he became a professor, um, biologist. His taking over his dad's footsteps in this company. His dad is a billionaire, um, billionaire businessman and a philanthropist, Sion Lachey Sr. Um, the junior has no, pretty much it's very difficult for him to make friends. Um, I mean, obviously he has friends, but like true friends that he can trust that are just his friends. He created a computer program that can think for itself, just in a need. He was looking for a friend. Um, Created a machine called Tina, super intelligence, super computer. He became
I animated this pro
um,
this one. I just didn't do
he
it
got awarded
because
for it.
it's too ahead
It
of the
gave him a
story.
lot of
Art's not what I
props,
want to be right now.
and it helped build hmm, his reputation or something. I had to figure that out. I'll figure it out. But somehow this put him in the light of, you know, it made him a lot of money. He has a super machine that can think for himself. Now this is his companion, only companion. He tells her everything. She communicates back with him, and in doing so, she's becoming smarter and smarter, obviously. And she can help him with his daily activities, daily logs, daily planning. She runs the helps, so anything he needs done, she's in control of that. Plus, he has she makes hands, and she pretty much caters to his needs. And she figured out he needed help, so she created help for him in the form of little hands, which we call helping hands. And whatever he needs, these hands do. And that's the beauty of the whole comic book is you got these hands, you got this brilliant guy, a kid who's growing up, and he wants friends, and he's tired of his mundane work and
Hmm.
um, celebrity status. He just wants friends. He doesn't want to do anything else. He just wants friends, and he wants to be an artist. He wants to be creative.
So he's a creative person. Um, the literature, I'm not sure how I'm going to go about doing that. Um, got an idea though, obvious, and I'm doing something right now. So someone asked about my stream. Everyone, you can't really talk to me while I'm doing this, but they sent me a personal text. So I'm about to grab it right now. Share, copy.
If he sees that he likes he sees how people who do fashion and stuff like that have kind of like their own life, who are artists, painters, kind of have their own life, where they just function differently, and it looks appealing to him. He has he has an idea of what he thinks their lives would be like, and he wants it. He wants to trade in his brilliance for creating numbers and programs and understanding, you know, um, I guess research, understand all that jargon that you would be if you were a genius, I guess. Um, and then he wants to trade it in for being an artist and being creative. He thinks he could take more advantage of the time that he spends with himself, and he thinks that would get him joy to be able to create something that other people, normal people, could relate to versus other geeks and nerds and uninteresting people that have been drawn to him thus far. He finds that communicating with some people is a little bit different because he speaks. His intellect is high, so his friends don't get him or other people don't get him. Therefore, he doesn't have very many friends. How could that make sense like that? So he doesn't have that many friends because he just doesn't. He's not able to the way that he talks. His wording and all that stuff is hard to understand if you don't have a vocabulary. And then his idea of joking is not that funny. His ideas are not, his jokes aren't funny because they're intellectual, if that's how you say it. Everything about him is nerdy. He's a nerd,
Intellectual.
and that doesn't make very many friends. Having a crush on a young lady that makes him nervous, and he's not able to talk to her, and it's even worse. And I think that I want to make it that even when he talks to her, because he dumbfound, he actually communicates with her pretty good because the words and everything he kind of forgets. So he's left just talking to her plainly, and she laughs and gets it. And he just thinks he's making a complete fool of himself, so he turns red. Black guy turn red, and he walks away. Or he'll be hanging out with her on a so-called date, but it won't be a necessary date because he just asked her to meet him somewhere, or he took her out to go get ice cream or something like that, right? But I want that to take a very long time to do, and I want Tina to help coach him through the process of communication with the women or a woman, the opposite sex. And then I want to use that conversation to reflect the intelligence of this AI. Um, yeah, and then kind of reflect how smart she is and how independent she is as a program. And I think that's necessary, very necessary for me to establish that in the story very early on, and then make it help the reader understand why he doesn't have friends. That it's just pretty much it's okay because the dialect that he keeps with his supercomputer.
All right, interrupt this commercial for a quick, brief break. I am done doing what it was that I was doing. I am trying to get this to show up on Facebook, but for some reason it's not showing up on Facebook. I don't know if it's taking my podcast and it's using it as someone who's got like I don't know, like it's like I'm an artist or something, and it's not allowing me to use the footage. But whatever's going on, it's not cool. So the only people really watching this, people from TikTok, actually Twitch. But yeah, trying to solve that problem. Trying to solve that problem. Edit video, turn off, deleting that, buddy. Delete a review.
Confused. What is going on?
I know this guy ought to give me some shout outs for sure. Alright, so what I'm about to do is I'm about to animate um my character. Just gonna make him move um for when I'm doing these live um these live things so that you could be able to live recordings So we can see the character at the corner of the screen. So, um, right here in this area will be changing as you guys watch. That's kind of like my objective is right now. Actually, my objective is to grab this little damn thing right here. Just watch without grabbing everything, but unfortunately for me, it could possibly be that easy. Please cover your kids' ears. This is about to be tedious and not nice. Discretion is advised. Discretion. TV show, so. All right, let me figure something outy. Anywho, back to your regular channel.
Is company enough? And then once I showed this conversation, I think that that would be important to go over some key things. So maybe come up with a list of things to pointers to talk about to kind of help show how smart this AI is. Um, this supercomputer is. So also bio he's a chemist and so he looks up a lot of microscopic creatures. Um, and then also he's a workaholic, so he works nights because that's just to him. He says it's creative. It's the creative time, nighttime, and he has like this real cool concept of why he thinks that may be. So because of it, he hates sleeping. He says thinks sleep is a waste of time. Other than the fact that your body needs it, he could do without it. So as a genius kid, billionaire, um, supercomputer, he has awesome lab, everything to at his disposal, and he just can think about what it is he wants. Anything he can think, he pretty much can create it or can make it happen. So when you look around his lab, you see how clean and how um, many masks he has just lined all around. I don't believe at this time the mask will probably exist then, because I think this is the point of which we start getting him wanting. You start seeing him not liking himself, not liking what his genius is done for him, his as a young person. Then I wanted to show the change in his mind and the change as a kid of him wanting to to be someone else, right? To be what he calls a normal person, um, able to communicate with everyday people with no problem. All right, so yeah. So if we go a little bit forward in the story, he, after talking to his supercomputer, figures out she makes a statement to him that
I'm going to
he's
go
he's a
grab
genius.
some
He's
stuff.
it's it's
Like when that crap.
it's ingrained and it's his innate ability to just solve problems. You know,
Yeah.
his dad did it, his dad did it, and his kids are gonna be doing it. So
This is to
it's
be
a natural ability. He needs to stop doubting himself and move forth and just do what it is he wants to do, um, with no obstructions and no guilt and nothing. Just do. And she spends a lot of
Yeah,
time
I need my
buoying him
tablet,
up
guys.
and giving
Go to
him
my Patreon page.
reassurance on his ability to.
Go to my Patriot page. Show me some love, some support. Working for that Wacom tablet, which will be my baby. My baby. My baby. Alrighty. Alrighty. So what I'm going to obviously have to do is reconstruct this whole thing. I don't want to do it, but never stopped me before. Uh, Anywho, so let me figure out what it is that I want to do. So I can better serve this purpose of mine. Interesting. Anywho, I'm not gonna have you guys sit through that whole thing, so why don't we do something that we can do to start making a change? Let's have a little fun, shall we? Send that to the back. Alrighty. Turn it off. Oh, there you go. He's just a normal guy with his hands in his pocket. Let's give it a lapel color on it. Little short outline. Inline, actually. I'll do outline. Outside of it. Oh, let's see. Everybody off. So, no problem with that. It shows anything that's wrong with your line. Cut this right here. This right here. This computer is terrible. Mr. Go to my Patreon page. Check me out. That is MISTERDOTME. And go check me out. Yeah. Um, this project is huge, guys. I would be on this project till I died. The storyline is immensive, beefy. Um, I've been working on the storyline for a minute, so I'm extremely happy about it. I think it's exactly what the world needs, and it's definitely exactly what I need. This has helped pull me out of a dire situation myself. Um, Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I might start this all over and try to get to record onto my Facebook because the Facebook page is important. Okay, I see some inconsistencies that you're not gonna see, so I shouldn't even worry about it. Again, I don't even have my tablet, so I should leave this alone. Drawing with a mouse ain't no joke. Did that in college for a while until my professor gave me the school's computer. It I mean, it's been a while, so I'm sure he's not gonna get flagged for that. They were giving away the computers anyways, and I needed a computer, and I was killing it, by the way. So he didn't have a problem. He saw it as a solution because I was always in the art lab doing what I do. That is greatness. No, I'm playing. I was just working my butt off. What the hell just happened to that? See, this is the shit that I hate right here. Just drew something. Oh, duh. And now, no, this should be on top. This joint right here. Um, something's wrong again. Something is wrong. Something has gone awry. That's what happens when you understand this. And before I built it so I can fix it. Right cheek. Okay, so this is the problem right here. You need to get to where you're supposed to be, buddy. Get back, get back. You don't know me like that. I am this, for some strange reason, has risen to the top. This, I get it, is supposed to be. Shut up. Don't tell me I can do it. I'm gonna tell you, boy, if I can have some say so in the development of this app, it would be totally legit. Anywho, okay, so let's lock that to the back. We should be able to group within like lines, like within layers. Like if I want to group this, I shouldn't have. It should be a way to group it where it still stays in this particular place, but it's acknowledged as it being in the group. So I don't lose the perspective because that's what exactly happens. Something's talking. What is that? Uh, this is talking. I see what I gotta do. Duh. I have to mute this so I'm not talking. There we go. Done so. Um, yep. Well, mm, I don't have an iPhone yet, so I didn't get the directions to your location. Alrighty. Um, alright, so what I want to do is I I want to separate some of the stuff and work on it independently. So let me go ahead and open up one of these, drop it onto the other line. I don't know that you guys can see what I'm doing. Um, but yeah, I'm about to work on the flipping up of this hand because I want to start representing for people who are patriots and businesses that come on board the whole nine. So, first picture I'm going to take is going to be with my guy, and we chilling with his gear on. All right, so um, I don't want that on his arm actually, although that is my logo. It's not what I want right now because he doesn't work for this company right now. He works for the family company, which is so it's 11 o'clock, guys. I really didn't want to be on this for long.
Pay attention to how great he's become at such a young age and how he doesn't need to worry about what other people think, and he doesn't have to worry about, he's doing everything he wants to do anyways. And quit having this self-esteem issue, um in which the character doesn't really see it like that. Like, he understands, which obviously they're having a conversation, he can understand what she's saying. He just, life doesn't happen like that for him.
I'm
he's not
changing.
um he's not satisfied.
Um,
So because he's not satisfied, he wants to come up with a way to change all around. So he wants to become an artist. So he makes the statement to Tina that he would trade being smart, having a gift of being smart and having a high IQ. He would trade it any day to become an artist, to be creative with his hands at doing something that people, everyday ordinary people, and more importantly, that the young lady that he talks to
my house of
would
flash
like. And also,
banging, baby.
I want to make her some
Tell
kind
me
of an
her
artist
story
as
while
well.
I fall in front of your
Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I
face
can just make
assist.
her some pretty girl that,
No,
you
that's
know,
not a word, dude.
he has a crush on or something like that. And then make her interested in him, but she's not able to reach out to him because he is so insecure in himself that
Alright, so now let's
he
do another
ruins it every single time.
that
But the little
is
time that they do
here.
hang out, that to him solidifies that he's messing up.
So
But for her,
let's
obviously,
put
she's interpreting it a different way altogether.
at the elbow.
All right, so fast forward. Um, Sion creates a mask. He works on the mask, and in this mask, uh, his objective. Okay, before the mask, his objective is to
So,
switch his brain. So he starts to researching brains and how the brain thinks and how, the creative skills, the motive skills of an artist is different from a genius, and how the two are similar but different. They use the different parts of their brain. Ones are left thinkers and the other ones are right thinkers. And then he goes and finds out, pretty much he creates a little helmet that goes over his head to pretty much do a I forgot the letters for this, but what it does is it pretty much it brain scans. It's a brain scan, and it gives him a bunch of readings about his brain and how he's thinking and how everything he does. So he wears it around the lab. He gets a report constantly. Tina is taking um, notes and is over the project. So she's reporting back to him her findings, and together they're building somewhat of a case and an understanding of how the human mind works. And then they, Tina understands that when he dozes off from being so sleepy, that there's a lot of brain activity going on when he sleep, and it's a phenomenon. She can't explain it because it's way different than when he's doing anything else. When he's being, uh, when he's solving problems, researching, he's excited. All these things, the brain activity from him being sleep. So then they start researching sleep patterns, and then they start researching waves and there's some other things that I'll be writing down. I don't know the names, but I've actually researched it. And there's 4 levels of sleep. I'm going to create, I think, maybe a fifth and a sixth
another,
level. The fifth and sixth levels will be, um,
I wish that this right here could be some buttons that I could touch that could move the size of them. I wouldn't have to keep going and doing this shit manually. Unfortunately for me, no buttons exist. No shortcut buttons, anyways. And again, Wacom tablet, that's what I want. Had I had that, it would actually put this job on a more easier streak for me. My Surface Pro did a good job. Um, but it broke, so I called the company, and their way of fixing the problem was definitely not for artists. So I'm over it. Um, yeah, I'm over it. So now I'd like to get a Wacom tablet. That's not working. So I'm gonna have to manually do this with my hands, with my elbow grease. Shakes, man. But this is where I came from though, so y'all get to see how I get to down.
where your eyes, okay, so the fourth level is rapid eye movement, where you're in a deep, deep sleep, which you flutter through level.
Levels. So when a person goes to sleep, there are a couple of levels that they reach. The last and final one, which is the fourth level, it's called rapid eye movement. Um, are and the rapid eye movement just signifies that you are grabbing for those things in your head, your vision, you're reaching. Um, then you have the first level, which is um I should be doing that. I should be breaking that down so there can be an understanding of what I'm talking about. But I don't really think it's important right now because there is a part of the story where that will actually be talked about, and Tina will be making me go sleep. Like, what's that element that you can have where you fall asleep right away at any time? They had a movie. It's hilarious. Making fun of people who did that. That was not cool, but the movie I didn't see it, I don't think, but it was an old movie. And old girl had that ailment where she would fall asleep, so she pinned her ponytail to the wall at a restaurant on a date, so her head wouldn't fall into a plate. Stupid, but yeah. So anywho, so now we're making some progress. I want, I want you. Hey, what you call it? Common did a song I want to listen to right now. But fortunately, right, if I play that, my ratings go out the door because they're gonna kill my feed and not allow this to be pushed forward. So be smart about that, right? Um, yeah. So what I want to do is I want to I want to actually, yeah, I'm just kind of need a blur. And he knocks his hand up, and somehow I think I need to. I gotta do this because if I don't, it's not cool. There we have it. Bam. Um, kind of like how there'd be a blur. Um, maybe I could put a little bit of air going there, I guess. Do it like this. So, there's a candy company that I will probably be most more likely to be working with, and this candy company is amazing. It's like it's like it's like the candy factory, right? It's kind of like say you was just you had the munchies or you just like candy like I do, which I don't eat it as much as I would because it's obviously not gonna help me as far as my health is concerned. Not that I'm having health issues, but just as sure as candy is sweet, my mama used to say. Gonna get a toothache. I just don't want to keep eating candy. I used to go on candy bins, right? So this is what I would do when I was in college is I would start eating candy or stop eating candy just so I could binge on candy. So I wouldn't eat candy for like 2 months. And I know it's bad. And then I would just start. I would go to a store and I would see candy and I would buy everything while having flashbacks of being young. And my dad used to sell candy. Actually, I don't think he's. So what happened? We sold candy at the church. I don't know why he did this crap. I know why he stopped though for sure. So we used to steal the candy out of the refrigerator. First, our intentions was to give money. This is why Zero is so stingy. Our intention was to give money, but come on now, you're a kid. The saying "a kid at a candy store" isn't for no reason. Like that idea didn't just come from out of the air with no backing, right? There's some validity to that idea. So what we used to do is we used to give money every once in a while, but after a while we started realizing like no one's really gonna know if who took the candy. Yeah, two brothers, three all together. Yep. So it was me, but I'm sure it was them too. But I was one of them. I used to take that candy, and I would just leave 25 cents. It was $1. I'll leave 25 cents. Take the whole candy. Yep. I mean, I figured like it was helping us because we was using the money. At one point, I think we were selling it for the church. Then shortly that became irrelevant, and I think my dad did away with that, and so we started just selling it for ourselves. So Zero was the monster behind that machine. He was the one that was always um, pushing that little red wagon up the street. The dude understood something though, because I remember he used to just drag that wagon, and we'd be outside playing, and this dude would be that was his life. He was carrying that wagon around, and to him, it made sense. You know what I mean? To be able to have um, to be making money. Like, I know everybody is one day gonna listen to this and have a whole bunch to say about whatever. Yeah, but guess what, guys? You can say all you want. Hindsight is 50-50, right? So, but anywho, so at a young age, Z used to be doing it, and yeah, so that's what he used to do. He used to take the candy, the wagon, all around, all up the street, all that. And he used to get paid. He used to come back with dough, just dough all in his hands, man, all in his hair. But yeah, so that's what started him off to like, I would imagine that's what got him interested in selling candy and making money. He was doing it at a pretty young age. But yeah, I only said that to say, man, I remember that. Those are funny days. Those are funny days. Funny, funny, funny. Alright, so what I'm gonna do right now, taking this off, and gonna make this a little lighter, because technically you don't see this. Yeah, that's the beauty of it. She's not gonna really see it, but you're gonna see it though. You know what I mean? You know what? I actually could make it like this. Uh, yeah, so that's how that's gonna go. So let's take another picture of him. Take this JPEG off. Ping 24. Better definition. Um, and we're working right now, so I want to put it on. Make a new folder. Call this new folder. Me TV logo. Sucks sometimes. I'll be looking at a letter and I'll be hitting a whole different letter. Shit's annoying. Um, Someone sent me a text and said, "How do you do your shading?" Well, the way that I do my shading is I, yeah, so I find out where my light source is at, and then I follow it at the same time. I find out when you do that, there's two things at stake. One is when you show that there's a light source, you show that there's a light source in the building. But if you just want it to be like just the surrounding, like the light, I just do what I want. As long as it makes sense and it makes it feel as if he's in the room. There is no, the room is just lit. Yeah, I know you would have, say that it was lit by like outside, you have windows everywhere. Yeah, you would have a light source, but it would be very faint. So at that point, I like doing what I want to do. I'm finishing up my live. So the moral story of this story that I'm doing that, is that one of the storylines is that the character, he ends up he ends up he goes from a genius to have a learning disability. That's what they call it in the business or in the corporate world or in school. I poke fun at it, so I always have. People take it serious and they get offended by for me because they want me not to talk about myself like that. I quit caring about that because there's two things that they're only dealing with. They're dealing with their disdain on the subject as it concerns me. Um, there's a lady called Joy Jabru, I believe that's her name, and she talks about. Um, I would look her up if the name isn't right. I promise you, if you look up um, post traumatic slave syndrome, there is a statement she makes, which is necessary for any time you want to create a system like that. It's called cognitive dissonance, right? And what she mentions is you have to give the brain a reason to not care. So when I say dyslexic, ADD, well, a lot of people look at my situation and they don't want to care. So they hate for me to bring up these particular things because I feel like they have some responsibility in their head to my well-being that um, they have not, they just feel obligated. So with that obligation, they feel like if there's a real problem with me, then they're obligated to care, to help, perhaps. Well, yo, I haven't had your help this far, so here's the story and shut the hell up. That's all I'm saying. It's not your problem. You don't have to feel any way about it. You've been prone and taught to believe what you believe, and those ideas of your belief is what makes you, it's what defines you. So, because I'm doing my thing, don't get upset with me because you're upset with yourself. Just get along, doggy. Get along. Life is too short. So anyway, so I found out I was dyslexic, and as a dyslexic person, for the label of the fact, it was tough. My parents didn't have the money to do all that research. Not to say that they didn't do research, because they told me I had ADD as well. I never researched what ADD was, only because it was me, right? I knew what it was. I was going through it my whole life. Like, had to take Ritalin, um, some special ed, and what did I do? I didn't understand. Like, if I had a question, the teacher would just get so forward with me asking so many questions. Like, this lady could not handle it. And she was like, have any questions except for C? I'm like, really? Except for C? I mean, aren't we in class to learn? Isn't this the objective? It's not the objective. The objective is for her to get her paycheck. She only got, what, 4 hours? She has to do her job within 4 hours. And that job description isn't answer a million of Sion's questions on this subject. Trust that. Anywho, so because I mentioned this shit because sorry little kids if there's any out there, I will definitely have to start marking on this when I feel like I'm gonna be using some languages that may not be suitable for children. Um, but anyway, I promise you, children use language themselves. Um, yeah. So my boys, this is what I do this for, so they can look back. I tell them all the time, like, Dad, what you doing? Drawing. To the point now, they just he's drawing. Yeah, when you got two voices, you got people talking about you to your kids. I get it. I shouldn't say that because no one's ever gonna admit that shit. But anywho, when that stuff goes on, then you read it in the face of your children. I mean, they don't say nothing to me that's weird because I'm sure that they handling it the way they're handling it. But for me, it's a joke. Like, um, for me to be drawing, he's drawing. He's drawing. Your dad's drawing. Yeah. So this is what I'm drawing, boys. I've been doing this. You can look through my records. When I say I'm drawing, that's exactly what I'm doing. It's never gonna change whether I'm working for Pixar, Disney, or Dreamweaver, any of these companies. That would be my job description is I'm drawing. And the story plays out different, right? Your dad's a professional drawer. I used to professionally do costumes for a studio house called WYSIWYG in San Francisco for 2 years. And I should have took my portfolio from them and went to college, but I didn't need it. I just created a portfolio of my own and went to college and got accepted on almost a scholarship. But it was a weird thing because Dr. Divins, who ended up owning, she was one of the owners of 4 of the Brooks colleges, got her hand purposely on my, when I say purposely, I had a plan. And I'll tell it one day. And the plan literally worked like a charm. It worked too well. And I gained the eye of Dr. Divins. And this woman right here was sheesh. She was dope, or is dope. I don't know where she's at. If she's still alive or not. I wish I could meet her again or hang out with her again. She was kind of like she was a mentor, but because of the lack of having a father that at that particular time gave any particular um, attention to his kids at the time, or to me, he probably was paying attention to zero. It's like, being a pastor, you don't get the chance, I guess. Well, I can't say that. People are who they are. And based upon if you're the kind of person that can multitask, then you're a multitasker. But if you can't multitask, then you're not a multitasker. And my dad did multitask with the church and me. He was terrible at it. So in return, I didn't get the chance to experience how to negotiate, how to sell your worth to people. Although I found out later on, later on, through just talking to people and really finding out how that works. But anywho, so what okay, I'm gonna save this as an actual file because they aren't gonna let me in. I'm gonna save it to my OneDrive, my life, Mr. New me. Nah, it's not working. F this. This thing looks like it's corrupted. Man, I'm not doing that then. Get in the folder, me movement. Change the name. Cool. And we're done. Alrighty. This is looking pretty decent. Alright, also what I want to do, let's define this. Take out the, actually I don't think, one of my things, my issues that I have, one of the issues that I have that I embrace is that I pay an extremely long amount of time on things for a couple of reasons. One is from a Scientology term. I feel like maybe there is a trigger, right? Something that I was exposed to when I was young, and then I just messed up. Something that I was exposed to when I was young that evidently had changed the way that I feel about my art. Shout out to my boy Eugene. Man, Eugene and I used to draw constantly, man. If it wasn't for that dude, man, I wouldn't be as tight as I am. Or, I should say, I wouldn't be the artist I am today. One of my issues was I just didn't think I was any good. Um, I'm not gonna lie, like I think there are dope artists out there, and there's totally artists out there that I can't put a candle to yet. But I will say this: I've conquered my style from wanting to be like someone else. I didn't want to be like them. I'm saying like I wanted to do Marvel comics, but I love anime. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't want to do Marvel because I just liked Marvel, but I didn't, those weren't mine, right? So I couldn't stake claim to someone else's work, so I had to make my own. And then I didn't want to copy what it was that they were doing, so I had to do my own. So that was one of the things that I did, and now I want to make him blink while he's coming up, right? Be a nice little gesture to have him blink. Now, I just know this is all going to be one thing. Oh, come on, I knew that. Anyways, now, yep, I can't get a break. Alright, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make another layer, put this on that layer, and ungroup this layer. And another thing, makers of Illustrator and Adobe, Illustrator specific. When I click on zoom in, zoom into whatever's highlighted. Don't zoom into the whole picture. Like that's whack. That ain't cool. Just so you know. Alright, anyway, so grab this, take that away, and obviously that too. Alright, well we're cool. What? What? Found you, sucker. Sucker MC. What the hell is this? Really? Dang, dude, you guys are so sensitive. Alright, so this is how I'm going to do this. Very simple, like, right? I am going to grab mask. You say, what is a mask, do you? Well, I'm going to tell you what a mask is. And the reason why I'm going to do it like this is because it will close his eyes evenly without me having to do much work. Because that circle, I'm going to have to drag all the points down to that circle to make this like, right? Jeez. Freaking dumb. Anywho, low key hate my computer, but I don't want it to break or anything. Alright, so I'm going to grab these two, I'm going to group them together. I'm going to hit this and highlight. I'm going to hit this down here, which is going to give me a mask. And now that I have a mask, I can make my character blink by simply closing the mask. Great, he doesn't have an eye. So, um, when he blinks, though, let's draw something at the bottom of his eyeball, his eye socket, his eye socket. Okay, so I think it'll be cool to let it be right there. Bam. Just like that. When I move, you move. Just like that. Hell yeah. Bring it back. Okay, so alright, so like that. Get us a little point. That point. I'm going to have to draw it back because my character doesn't have anything reliable like that. So I gotta respect it. Cuticles. Not cuticles. We call it little thing in your eye. In your eye. In your eye. This is us. I actually was looking at that show the other day, right? The big girl that was like, sing. Who let her sing? He was kind of, well, I only think that he was hopeful that she was actually any good. Then she told the other girl to sing. That chick put a little, put a little falsetto in it, and she modulated her voice, hit some notes, and yeah, there go the neighborhood. And old girl didn't even lose. She 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 didn't lose any hope. She just saw it from another way. She's like, yeah, now I know what to work on. That's what I'm talking about. Don't let them stop you. Mhm. That was good. Don't let them knock you down, right? Alright, so now we got that. Let's turn it black. Because I'm down for the black folk. No, I am, but that's not what I'm doing. Yickety, yickety. Alright, so when he blinks, that will be there. Now, if that's there, let me show you how the beauty of this works. Now, I get the chance to paint. This is how I do my shadowing. So, I'm gonna knock this off and see what it does. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think that however it knocks out when you straighten it out, right? I'm going to straighten this out like this. And this is going to allow me to this is going to allow me to shade my stuff like how I want it. Right? Now I know for sure, just because the thing is behind, I know for sure how to move it. And I am going to paint that a very, well, not very dark, but a dark. That'll work. Alrighty. And now that we're here, I think this right here didn't have to be all the way right here. And we can move it up. I can't stand this shit. Don't do that. I want it to move. I don't want it to freaking freeze on me. You kidding me? What move? Like, what computer does that? Well, mine does. Alright, so check it out. So now we want him to blink. So when that eye does go off, he will have this underneath. And now we just want to get to that point, right? So the mask is going to allow me to pull down like this, right? Yeah, that's stupid as hell. Why would you even color that? Like, that's so dumb. You're a mask. Masks don't have color. Right? So now when he is going up, actually, I'm gonna save this again. Maybe do, oh no, 1A, 1A. So 1A because it's chilling. And then I want this to go up. And I'm gonna make this go just a little bit closer. Bam. No, like that. Only because I kind of want it to save that as this. Yep. And 1 second to grab some hot water, guys. And meantime,
Or stage 1 and 2. Um, each stage you have to go to anytime you're interrupted. Whether you're interrupting yourself, you still have to start from stage 1 and go through 2, 3, and then 4. So if you're in 4, you stay in 4 for like maybe anywhere from 30 to 45, 40 minutes at a time, and then you get thrown back into um, the cycle of 1, 2, 3, 4. That may very well be something that is being done now because of all the brainwave interactive devices that are around us that use sound waves and use vibrations and all that stuff. Um, Real vibration, like your brain really administers vibrations, like it literally. Um, when they realize that it literally sends out a signal, um, and it's modulating at a certain pitch. So they already know that cell phones and wireless devices will tap into that, and almost like if you rub a crystal and it makes the high pitch, and it could, if you play that same pitch higher and higher and higher and higher, you could break the crystal. If you find a pitch of the crystal, you play that same pitch higher and higher, it will literally break the crystal. So just like the mind can be interrupted and thrown back into the cycle of 1, 2, 3, and then 4, which is deep sleep, they create another REM, which is 5, which keeps the mind in 4. So it all together creates just automatically another REM that she finds out how to keep him in the 5th REM where he can't be interrupted. And in doing so, Sion wakes up revived, uh, able to be clear of mind. A lot of benefits from this, right? He's able to stay alert and woke for longer amounts of time. Um, Still hates sleep. She's not really letting him know that she's making him sleep by pushing him into this 5th REM, our 5th stage. She calls a REM, our level. She creates. She's discovered it. She's helping him sleep. So she doesn't, as far as she knows now, is that his brain activity is totally different, and he wakes up totally different. So to her, it's a win-win. However, he's starting to have um, dreams and out of body experiences, right? And this also, around the same time, he's already trying to find a cure for the bags underneath his eyes for staying up long periods of time. So he's into like looking into plant fibers and things like that. He's doing a lot of microscopic research, which he already does as a biochemist. And he's already looking at microscopic creatures, Phylinthias or whatever you call them. And he, through looking for this, he finds a cure, but um, what happens? Tina goes through his findings with him. She's there the whole time. They both end up realizing that there is a particle that seems to be everywhere that they're at, that they overlook because they're not looking for it, but it's there. And it's a very small particle. It's small, size of an atom, and it's dormant. Like after they start paying attention to it, this thing becomes they start realizing that it's an actual it's stuck between um an atom and a creature. So it's like a live atom, but it's dormant. And as far as they know, it's undiscovered, and they're the first one. So they call it a me cell. And this me cell, it becomes one of the things that he starts to spending all of his time in trying to discover what this is and how to wake it, or you know what I'm saying, how to get it from its sleeping dormant state. So then what it does is the character keeps looking along with Tina. They keep just researching it. You know, everything's going on, the sleep patterns for the mind and all that stuff. And now the character, now because he's researching them, he has quite a few of them. So the one that he's researching, though, he realizes that a couple of things make it react. First, it has nothing to cling on to, and because it is a live atom, it can change into whatever. It can draw more of its brothers and sisters to it, I guess, of other me cells. And now the character is messing around with the genius of this little bug, or this little me cell. And they realize right now he's got the me cell administering. Well, what he discovered is you can control it through your tones, through vibration, tones, and emotions. It's a very emotional thing. When you're watching it, it it knows that you're watching it, and when you're not, it doesn't do anything. It only responds when it knows it's being watched, when it senses the presence of eyes, right? So what ends up happening is that Tina starts to realizing that it changes with its vibration. So they also figure out that it can change form from any kind of material that it comes in contact with, whether it be air, because it changes its components. So it's just like an atom. It changes what it needs to be, what it wants to be, by grabbing the rest of the you know, like you have oxygen, uh, electron, hydrogen, and oxygen, right? Well, all those are atoms. Everything is comprised of an atom, matter. Well, this thing is smaller and it's alive, and it uses its ability to be able to change, to be able to, um, yeah. So just I'll explain that. It's very hard to talk about it, but anyway, so the character has it do a task. It finds that it can change its molecular. It can create things. It can become something. It can turn into uh, a piece of skin, or it can turn into a piece of gold. Or it can turn into air. It can do all kinds of crazy things. So what he does is he finds out how to tame it, or how to get it to obey him, and he uses a variety of sounds and emotions. They don't know obviously everything, but there's one thing that he's done is he's gotten a group of them, or he's labeling them. Okay, so this makes sense. So he's gotten, I'm gonna do a little bit more research, but it's like pets. He has different ones, and different ones he has exposed them to different things, which has changed their structure completely. Um, so one of them he has that's able to administer vitamins that he rubs underneath his eyes. That's able to administer vitamin um, and change the color of his skin. So actually, I don't want it to administer vitamin. The thing can change. It can turn to skin. It can do whatever. So it actually just I guess through the emotions, it feels the emotions of him plus the tone levels. The tone levels. So what he does is he's able to he understands what Sion wants, and he just does it. So he just creates the same color skin underneath his eyes. There's bags underneath that, but he creates the same skin. And then over time, he actually creates, I know what it'll be. So this thing, this me cell, he has, the red letter was me 3, QME3. So he has created 1 and 2, which has again given him prizes, awards, and all kinds of accolades as a kid genius to be able to make this kind of shape forming mass that can. The first one can turn to one thing, so it can turn into a chair. And then the second one can turn into 2 things, so it can turn into a chair or a ball. And then that's all. It goes back to its shape, or it will stay as that shape. So then the second thing, the stage 3, he ends up giving to the owner, which is his mom of the IQ Corp, but in the form of a gift. She's unaware of what it is, but that's his mom, and she knows her son. So she later on finds out, obviously, but that comes into effect later on. But as of right now, I just want to kind of get down the idea of these me cells because I feel like it's important. I like how we got there, and I will do more research so I can speak about it a little bit more brilliantly. But I do like the fact that I do want these me cells to be able to change into anything that they come in contact with. I want it to be able to assist him later on. Yeah. So moving right along, I want to also make him able to be inside of. After they've done all the brain scans and all these things, he creates a mask. And this mask, what it does is, while he's asleep, it allows him to work. So while he's asleep, he's allowed to work in his through a dreamlike state, like he's in like another realm, like you are when you sleep. Your brain never turns off, and you're never you just because you sleep or knocked out, your brain still is active. It's your you have 3 minds. You have your irrational mind, you have your reactive mind, and you have your somatic mind. So your reactive mind, it records every event, good or bad. It records it, and it's just raw data. It takes things for word value. So if you get knocked out and someone around you, you hear the paramedics, it records the situation. And you hear paramedics, you hear somebody say, back up, I need to breathe, or and then you record all this. And what happens is, once that situation incident is gone and past, it's recorded in your reactive mind, which means your reactive mind reacts. That's all it does, reacts. There's no logic, there's nothing connected to it. It's just, it reacts. Your analytical mind is what actually analyzes things, and that's what you think with often, if not all the time. But your reactive mind is triggered by things that are close to experiences that it can record. And again, it records things once it's unconscious. Either you're asleep and your mind is in REM, where it can be able to hear and feel everything around it, but you're unconscious. So now your analytical mind is turned off. Now your reactive mind is on. All right, and then your somatic mind, well, that's a whole story in itself. It's very simple. It takes directions or instructions from your reactive mind, and your analytical mind. So these are the three minds that this mask is given the task to have complete control over, and that is what its job is. And it has the ability to think on its own, and it's been programmed to deal with the mind. It's been programmed to be able to take you into a sleep-like state and keep you there, and be able to help audit you and get you past incidents in your life. So it'll go through your whole active, reactive mind and make those triggers go away by addressing them and confronting them and healing your mind so that you can achieve three things. One is perfect pitch. The other is rationality or rational. You can think rational. And then the other one, I haven't figured it out. I just know I want it to be three. Things come in threes. All right, so when he first puts the mask on, it lets him know that he's on to something. So it's not a big deal. It's not that nice. It's very rough. It's just something that he wanted to test out. And then after he makes a couple of prototypes, tests them out, he gets a little bit more advanced, and I want to go through all the different masks that he makes. But the last mask that he actually makes that he's proud of and that's able to do everything, and he feels like the changes from the research of the other masks and what they've given him, the changes of this have actually led to this particular mask. He puts this particular mask on, knocks him out for a whole 2 years. When he wakes up, he's 2 years older. The world has changed. I don't know how I want that to change, but I do want it to be at the point where he's at risk of losing his particular piece of his empire, of his parents' empire. Dang, that lizard jumped pretty far. That was dope. Dang. So, man, I didn't know lizards could jump like that. Dude, a lizard is no joke. Like, the dude is literally, like, moving. They'd be like low to the ground. Anyway, so cat, squirrel. Yeah, so what was I? Probably gonna listen to this recording so I can catch my mind again. Alright, so I'm gonna just try it out where I think I know what I'm talking about. So it keeps control of his mind, and his mind it's pretty much it's the guardian of his research. So therefore he's the guardian of his mind, okay? And anywho, so this mask is able to monitor and spit all that information out to Tina, which in turn departmentalizes and writes out an essay for him to be able to read and understand, you know, all the specs, all the analytics and all that stuff, right? So that they can be more accurate at their research of getting him, and this is his objective now, is to become creative. He wants to find a way to switch his mind from being smart to being creative. And he has identified the fact that creative people are using the left side of their mind, and the right side of their mind, things are, you know, when they have to use the right side, which is in, you know, curriculum, it has a tendency of anyway, so you use two different minds, sides of your mind. You even if you're using your two different sides of your minds do two different things. Just say it like that. So a creative person uses more of his left side, or whatever side has been deemed for creative side, and then there's another side that's given to your more analytical side. So the analytical side, he has to give up his analytical side to go into his creative side. So that's what the mask is supposed to do. See, the character doesn't have a clue of what this is obviously going to do to him. He just thinks from science, from research, that it's got to do what he's saying it's got to do. So through a sleep light, anyway, so the mask understands what needs to be done. Once they put in all of the specs and information, it takes it and makes sense of it. So he says the password, because this mask is different. You put this mask, it's going to literally change your mind, change your world. And if you're not careful, who knows what it can do? So he puts a password on it, and it locks. It's iron. It can't be broken. It's made out of the me cells, one of the strongest. It's had it become one of the strongest metals possible, or substance that he can create at this particular time. So no one can open this mask, and the mask unlocks. It has a password, which is seek, knock, ask. And once the mask opens up, you ask the mask a question, and you put the mask on, and it gives you an answer. It doesn't speak. It doesn't talk. Well, it doesn't talk with it. It doesn't have a mouth, but it speaks. It communicates for sure. The brain waves that this mask has is perfect speech. It uses your ideas, your way of communication, your pictures of what you see when you're hearing words, the whole nine. It's a world of its own. It's in your mind. So it's the best teacher ever. Sion has learned, and when he puts this mask on, it puts him in a world in his mind. And now he's there taking he's there learning from the different characters that his mind has established and created to get past stumbling blocks, to get past altercations and solutions and problems that he has in his own mind, all while changing him from being a left thinker to a right thinker, or vice versa. It's going on almost 45 minutes, so I'm going to stop this recording because I doubt if I'm going to want to listen to this for that long, or if I could even listen to this for that long. Actually, yeah, I'm drawing. I can listen to it. I draw for about 2 hours. It's perfect. All right, well, thank you guys for tuning in to Talk a Script. And this is me getting my thoughts out on paper. And it's a broadcast for me. Mr. Me. Me. And phone. Into myself. Picture of me falling like into water. Representing a gulf of information. Semitic mind used to be master because it represents the legs and the arms of this place. The ability to move around. So maybe he tries on outfits that are people. See which one fits. I want to have him give his offering. Okay. He flies backwards and forward from meditating and pure white nothingness were behind him. His void, and in front of him screens. And you can see straight through it, but you can tell it's some kind of information grid. One grid of information. And draw a scene with him facing himself with his legs folded, meditating with his head on his head, facing each other. There has to be something he creates. That's the information. He uploads it into all the different methods. That's good information. More information right now, like a grid. It's all about information rules. So let's do that. So now he tries as he closes his eyes, it tells him to find himself. Then we'll probably take him through the meditation. Mention a mantra, which is Mr. Me. Doesn't mean anything. Then we want Mr. Me. Mr. Me. We'll have him whisper that to bring him back. And the mantras I can say to him in case you get lost. Here's a mantra to help you find your way. And there'll be a little light creature that fades in and out. But he speaks to you when he's there in front of you, and he speaks to you when he's not. Yep, that would be his little friend. So once you get your mantra, he sits there for you. He blinks in and out of consciousness. He's there all the time. Either you can see him or you can hear him or you can feel him. Taste. He's thought here. We are thought. This is thought. Thought tells a story. Words are not allowed or permitted here. We don't know them, we don't need them. Find your flow. Your ground chakra. 7 chakras. 8. Your 6th eye. Third eye. Your 6th sense. That'd be the last one. After the last one, he obtains perfect pitch. He emanates energy, sound energy. And it covers an inch. I'd say maybe an eighth of an inch of his skin. his body becomes a circuit board, a conductor. He just wants friends. Anchor, an app where you can make a podcast in 3 easy steps. All you do is push the record button, say what you have to say, then press it to stop the recording. Voila! You did it. Yes, it's that easy, that simple. So all you gotta do is go to anchor.fm to get started. So go to Anchor and download the free Anchor app, or go to the Anchor website, anchor.fm. That's ANCHOR.FM. Podcast made easy. All right, so where I'm at right now in the story, there's a Richie Rich kid. He's a millionaire kid. He's a junior, and his dad is a philanthropist slash the character is the world's richest kid. He's a kid genius, and at a very young age, he became a professor, biologist. He's taken over his dad's footsteps in his company. His dad is a billionaire. Billionaire businessman and a philanthropist, Sion Lachey Sr. The junior has pretty much it's very difficult for him to make friends. I mean, obviously he has friends, but like true friends that he can trust, that are just his friends. He created a computer program that can think for itself, just in a need. He was looking for a friend. Created a machine called Tina, super intelligent, super computer. He became, he got awarded for it. It gave him a lot of props, and it helped build his reputation or something. I had to figure that out. I'll figure it out. But somehow this put him in the light of, it made him a lot of money. He has a super machine that can think for himself. Now this is his companion, only companion. He tells her everything. She communicates back with him, and in doing so, she's becoming smarter and smarter, obviously. And she can help him with his daily activities, daily logs, daily planning. She runs the helps, so anything he needs done, she's in control of that. Plus, he has, she makes hands. she pretty much caters to his needs, and what she figured out, he needed help, so she created help for him in the form of little hands, which we call helping hands, and whatever he needs, these hands do. And that's the beauty of the whole comic book, is you got these hands, you got this brilliant guy, a kid who's growing up, and he wants friends, and he's tired of his mundane work and celebrity status. He just wants friends. He doesn't want to do anything else. He just wants friends, and he wants to be an artist. He wants to be creative. He sees that he sees how people who do fashion and stuff like that have kind of like their own life, who are artists, painters, kind of have their own life, where they just function differently, and it looks appealing to him. He has an idea of what he thinks their lives would be like, and he wants it. He wants to trade in his brilliance for creating numbers and programs and understanding, I guess research, understand all that jargon that you would be if you were a genius, I guess. And then he wants to trade it in for being an artist and being creative. He thinks he can take more advantage of the time that he spends with himself, and he thinks that would get him joy, to be able to create something that other people, normal people, could relate to, versus other geeks and nerds and uninteresting people that have been drawn to him thus far. He finds that communicating with some people is a little bit different, because he speaks, his intellect is high, so his friends don't get him, or other people don't get him, therefore he doesn't have very many friends. Okay, that makes sense. I like that. So he doesn't have that many friends because he just he's not able to, the way that he talks, his wording and all that stuff is hard to understand if you don't have a vocabulary. And then his idea of joking is not that funny. His jokes aren't funny because they're intellectual, if that's how you say it. Everything about him is nerdy. He's a nerd, and that doesn't make very many friends. Having a crush on a young lady, that makes him nervous, and he's not able to talk to her, and it's even worse. And I think that I want to make it that even when he talks to her, because he dumbfound, he actually communicates with her pretty good, because the words and everything he kind of forgets, so he's left just talking to her plainly, and she laughs and gets it, and he just thinks he's making a complete fool of himself, so he turns red. A black guy turned red, and he walks away, or he'll be hanging out with her on so-called date, but it won't be a necessary date, because he just asked her to meet him somewhere, or he took her out to go get ice cream or something like that, right? But I want that to take a very long time to do, and I want Tina to help coach him through the process of communication with the women, or a woman, the opposite sex. And then I want to use that conversation to reflect the intelligence of this AI. And then kind of reflect how smart she is and how independent she is as a program. And I think that's necessary, very necessary for me to establish that in the story very early on, and then help the reader understand why he doesn't have friends, that it's just pretty much, it's okay. because the dialect that he keeps with his supercomputer is company enough. And then once I showed this conversation, I think that would be important to go over some key things. So maybe come up with a list of things to pointers to talk about to kind of help show how smart this AI is. This supercomputer is. So also he's a chemist, and he looks up a biochemist. Yeah. So he looks up a lot of microscopic creatures. And then also he's a workaholic. So he works nights because that's just, to him, he says it's creative. It's the creative time, nighttime. And he has like this real cool concept of why he thinks that may be. So because of it, he hates sleeping. He thinks sleep is a waste of time. Other than the fact that your body needs it, he could do without it. So as a genius kid, billionaire, supercomputer, he has awesome lab, everything at his disposal, and he just can think about what it is he wants. Anything he can think, he pretty much can create it or can make it happen. So when you look around his lab, you see how clean and how many masks he has just lined all around. I don't believe at this time the mask will probably exist then, because I think this is the point of which we start getting him wanting, you start seeing him not liking himself, not liking what his genius is done for him as a young person. Then I wanted to show the change in his mind and the change as a kid of him wanting to be someone else, right? To be what he calls a normal person, able to communicate with everyday people with no problem. All right, so yeah. So if we go a little bit forward in the story, he, after talking to his supercomputer, figures out, she makes a statement to him that, you know, he's a genius. It's ingrained, and it's his innate ability to just solve problems. You know, his dad did it, his dad did it, and his kids are gonna be doing it. So it's a natural ability. He needs to stop doubting himself and move forth and just do what it is he wants to do, with no obstructions and no guilt and nothing. Just do. And she spends a lot of time booing him up and giving him reassurance on his ability to pay attention to how great he's become at such a young age, and how he doesn't need to worry about what other people think, and he doesn't have to worry about, you know, he's doing everything he wants to do anyways, and quit having this self-esteem issue, in which the character doesn't really see it like that. Like, he understands what obviously they're having a conversation. He can understand what she's saying. He just, life doesn't happen like that for him. He's not satisfied. So because he's not satisfied, he wants to come up with a way to change all around. So he wants to become an artist. So he makes the statement to Tina that he would trade being smart, having a gift of being smart and having a high IQ, He would trade it any day to become an artist, to be creative with his hands at doing something that people, everyday ordinary people, and more importantly, that the young lady that he talks to would like. And also, I want to make her some kind of an artist as well. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I can just make her some pretty girl that, he has a crush on or something like that. And then make her interested in him, but she's not able to reach out to him because he is so insecure in himself that he ruins it every single time. But the little time that they do hang out, that to him solidifies that he's messing up. But for her, obviously, she's interpreting it a different way altogether. All right, so fast forward. Sion creates a mask. He works on a mask, and in this mask, his objective. Okay, before the mask, his objective is to switch his brain. So he starts to researching brains and how the brain thinks and how, the creative skills, the motive skills of an artist is different from a genius, and how the two are similar but different. They use the different parts of their brain. Ones are left thinkers and the other ones are right thinkers. And then he goes and finds out, pretty much he creates a little helmet that goes over his head to pretty much do I forgot the letters for this, but what it does is it pretty much, it brain scans, it's a brain scan, and it gives him a bunch of readings about his brain. And I figure if this thing tapes, then tone levels, and then go into my past, my unconscious mind.
Then press it to stop the recording. Voila. You did it. Yes, it's that easy. That simple. So all you gotta do is go to anchor.fm to get started. So go to Anchor and download the free Anchor app, or go to the Anchor website, anchor.fm. That's ANCHOR.FM. Podcast made easy.
You are now entering the
Clear your voice.
Talk a Script show. So I'm just gonna hop back in.
Fine. Just fine.
Hop in, hop out. Let's find out what this one is all about. I'm gonna take notes on a pad while I'm talking this through. This is how I make sense of everything in my head. Start this process off.
Excuse me. making sense in my head. You the one that said, if you want to do perfect, you say, tell me when you
Okay, so
best made.
we'll be starting off at the desk. My work cycle
My wiki
starts at home at the desk. All right. And I'm having a conversation with
me.
Tina, my virtual
There you
assistant.
go.
Really. All right, so what do I want to talk about?
I
I
don't
want to show that this virtual
no need to have that many steps. No need to have
machine
that
can
many
think
steps. No need to have
on
steps.
its own. Absolutely.
There is no
Gotta nail that
need to
home.
have that many
So
steps.
I'm gonna start off at the
Please
desk. All right, so first I have to make this computer program, Tina, work on its own merits. This virtual assistant has to be groundbreaking, obviously. And in this scene, I want to show how smooth he communicates. Almost as if I really didn't introduce her correctly the first time, which is why I stopped my whole take, because I felt like I needed to establish that to myself. Alright, so try to be as biased as possible. Alright, so working at the desk,
Myself, sing songs.
cup of tea with his
As soon
hands,
as I get my boys, we can have fun.
assisting him.
These boys be singing. Miss my boys.
Yep. And then this is my process. It's an anime character that I created. I walk you through my process to get what you call your thoughts down on paper. I'm dyslexic, so yes, tapped in.
Hey, I'm trying to find out what voice shall I use.
Anchor, an app where you can make a podcast.
Alright, so the problem that I'm
with
running
easy
into right
steps.
now is when it saves, it doesn't save the
All you
actual
do is
size
push the
of the
record
box, which
button,
means I might have to put it in a frame, which means I don't
say
want to
what
put
you
it in a
have to
frame,
say,
and I don't like the fact that I have to put it in a frame, which means I'm probably not gonna die.
then press it to stop the recording. Voila. You did it. Yes, it's that easy, that simple. So all you gotta do is go to anchor.fm to get started. So go to Anchor and download the free Anchor app, or go to the Anchor website, anchor.fm. That's
what I do, man.
ANCHOR.FM.
If it were a JPEG,
Podcast
I
made
think it would
easy.
save it differently, obviously. I wanna stop when you're around.
Okay. Now that I've done this a couple times, I do have the hang of it a little bit. So the process that I'm doing is more so me trying to do a podcast. I don't want to try to do a podcast. I just want to record my frame of thought, how I think through the pictures. And what I've been doing thus far isn't nothing like that. That's not how it works. It's me trying to do a podcast. I don't have time to do a podcast. That means to plan everything and do all that. No, I'm just gonna talk to myself, act like I'm not talking to anyone, which pretty much I'm not,
Are you trying
and
to convince
just
yourself,
play it to
buddy?
myself, take over where I left off from. It's a process. It probably takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
I'm no
Hopefully
one.
it'll get done faster, and then that way I can work my episodes out. each episode that I work, that I talk out on this, I play it, and then I draw
Oh yeah.
each scene. In this case now, yeah, so I draw each scene. So so far from doing these scenes, this podcast, and doing a little research and writing and
Or not.
doing the whole thing, I've come up with a pretty solid idea of what I want to do. Things are making a lot of sense to me now. So as far as the comic book is concerned, I have done the
If
first
you want to
couple
hear
of
this
pages.
uncut
I've done
without
them a
the
couple
intro
of times,
chiming in,
but now I
go
think that I'm
visit
more
my
ready
iBook.
now because I've done this podcast and I've been able to kind of hear my thoughts and hear the debate.
Sorry for that little bit of interlude. As beautiful as it may be, I'm back. All right, so check. Um, so let's get a little bit of witty with this, right? I want to make it so it's giving me a background, and that background is going to be like invisible, but hopefully I'm hoping that I save it, that it picks it up and it positions the same thing in the same area all the time, right? You know that might not make any sense to the viewer, but the viewers, man, you guys don't know nothing, right? What do you mean? You mean I don't know anything? Just playing. All right, so now that I got those steps in, I'm gonna work my theory out. So bear with me, folk. Let's have him blink. Let's have him pull this up quarter way. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Three. So three and four and crunch. Alright, so bam. There goes the blink, the wink. He winked. He winked at me. Yes, he winked at you. Cherish it. Trade it in for money. It's valuable. So that thing should be changing. It's not all mine. Chibi chibi. Chibi chibi. Chibi chibi. Way body. So it's changing. I'm not sure if I took a picture of that one. Let's see. Did I take a picture of that pose? Yes, I did. So I want to take a picture of the pose with him with his regular eye. Right? Righteous? The one that had a winking ish on it right there. Right there. You know what I'm about to say? I like it when you do that right there. Love it when you do that right there. Make the stir. Hey, I remember when that song came out. Yeah, technically I shouldn't. What can I say? Let's see. I could say that. Nah. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Let it stay there and grow rust. Okay, so what do I want to do? I want to represent for some companies because I happen to like those companies, right? So I can represent for whoever the hell I want, right? So let's do that. All right, now I'm gonna make my boy wink while he's holding that, which let me see if I remember. Remember 7. Guys, remember 7. Excuse me, we're just gonna count. We are going to count from 1 to 10. Oh. I'm gonna do something. Oh, shizzle. I guess that'll work. Sort of. Sort of, eh? Sort of. Actually, to be perfectly honest with you, that is actually totally wrong. Totally wrong, buddy. Totally wrong, no. So, see if we can get this to match, eh? See if we can make this match. Match. Hey, son. Yo, son. Yo, son. So we want us to match a little bit, eh? So in order to get our matching, what to get to the attacking? Oh, hey, it's just a bit off, no? Can't see that, then I don't know what can't see. Can't see you from. What can't see you from? See all them lines? You guys don't know anything about this program, but in order for me to prevent or to create any kind of work, I have to draw lines. Duh. Everyone knows that. All right, so I'm about to end this one and I'm going on Facebook. Guys, thank you for joining. But there aren't a lot of people on here, which is fine by me. A little bit that's here is fine. Well, thank you guys. Let me show you the end process. If I can get one. If I can get one, and let me try. Let me try. Let me try. Let's delete this because that ain't doing shit. Nah, 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 nah. Oh, you know what? Oh, dang, duh. It's not even pulling from the one that I want. This is the one that I want. The one that I want. You are the one that I need. So creamy. You get that bum love, oh baby. Do I just get ate up by something that bit me? So if I turn into a zombie, or if I start coughing my lung out because I got a cold, or if I start chewing and gnawing my leg off because I got rabies, just know here lay the fine young dandy man who all he wanted to do was make a difference. That's all he wanted to do was make a difference. Time between slides. What's the time in between slides, son? So let me go about 3 maybe? The 3 does. Maybe make it move faster. Move faster? No. And I don't want no fade in. No fade. We want to. Nope. No swipe either. That's not at all. No. Something's not right. And I know what it is. So, this character would normally go down here. So, I'm going to have his self right there. Because I love the way you do that right